Welcome to Rewatch and Rank. On this channel, we rewatch older TV shows, provide a summary and opinion on the episode before ranking each episode against each other. Today's episode is Hannibal Season 3, Episode 11, and the Beast from the Sea. Episode in a nutshell is a brief reminder of what happened in the episode. So this episode begins with Alana, Jack, and Will discussing what happened at the museum with Dollarhide eating the painting and how that might be reflective of his current mental state. Before then, we see Hannibal speaking to Francis, who is worried about harming Reba, and he doesn't want to harm Reba. He thinks that she's, alive and somebody that he desperately wants to be a part of his life. So Hannibal then directs him towards getting rid of the red dragon by potentially passing it on to Will. And we then get some imagery of Francis crashing waves, the moon, wings sprouting out the back, etc. Before we then see him having a date with Reba where they get some drinks, and Reba leans against him while he watches a film on the old time projector, and this is of Molly and Walter returning home. Molly and Walter then discover that the dogs are ill, and so they take the dogs to the vet. The vet then confirms that they were likely poisoned, and they suggest potentially, because Will usually made the food from scratch and Molly does canned food, that maybe she accidentally got poisoned canned food, and that's what happened to it. And then as they're leaving the vets, Molly decides to keep it a secret from Will that they have had their dogs become ill. We then have Will going in to talk to Hannibal in order to try to get Francis's or Dollarhide's identity from him. And Hannibal does indicate that he does know who Francis is, but that he isn't really going to reveal that, though he does do his usual give a few hints here and there, but doesn't outright say anything to Will to warn him or anything like that. We then have Dollarhide attacking Molly and Walter at night. They manage to, well, Molly figures out that they're being attacked. She gets Walter. They run towards the road and manage to escape in a vehicle. However, they are shot at by Dollarhide as they leave, and Molly is revealed to be injured as Will later arrives at the hospital and is told that Molly is in surgery by Jack before speaking to Walter, who brings up a Freddie Lowndes article that he had read about Will's past and his time in a mental institution and the fact that he had killed somebody in the past as well, and he suggests that Will should kill Dollarhide as that would be better for everyone because people can escape from asylums and such. Will then visits Molly after she wakes up, and oh wait, no, she hasn't woken up yet. He visits Molly. She's in her room, unconscious. We then move over to Alana, who brings in the phone for Hannibal and tells him that he has a call from his lawyer. And Hannibal doesn't really get up to go and answer it. And then she says that she's actually the one who called the lawyer and confirmed that the lawyer has not contacted Hannibal since he won his insanity plea, which means that she knows that he has been speaking to Dollarhide. And then Jack arrives and also joins in on the conversation. Hannibal tells them that the Dollarhide does not like the nickname the Tooth Fairy, but would rather go by the Great Red Dragon. And basically, Jack and Alana say to him that if you want to keep your comforts and your privileges in this institution, next time Dollarhide calls, we're going to listen in. We're going to track the call. You're going to cooperate with us. Meanwhile, while he's doing that, so Francis Dollarhide basically fights against himself, rolling around, We see like flashes of like dragon parts that he's visualizing beating him up because he won't kill Reba and he had failed in his mission to kill Will's family. And then Reba does arrive at the house and she does try to help talk him off the ledge and have a calm conversation, but he instead decides that they cannot be together because he might hurt her, and he's afraid of that. And so he breaks up with her. She then leaves, and Dollarhide then calls Hannibal about Reba, and then they speak for a bit while Alana and Jack do listen in, but then Hannibal makes the decision to choose to help Francis over Alana and Jack and tells him that they're listening. This then leads to Hannibal losing his privileges, so his desk is removed, his toilet's removed, everything's removed from his cell, just as Alana had threatened in a previous episode should he choose to be uncooperative. We then move on from there to Molly waking up in the hospital, and she talks to Will about how she knew it was Dollarhide attacking, how she doesn't blame Will because she's the one who told him to go and that she wanted him to go. However, she does blame Jack because Jack's the one who brought Will back in. And they have a conversation before Will then goes to confront Hannibal, who does give Will some hints about the profile as the episode ends. So now that we've been reminded about what happened in the episode, it is now time to rank the episode. And as always, we will be ranking on our mostly objective ranking list first, followed by the personal ranking list. So on our mostly objective rank values, first we have a +2 for our multi-episode supporting character development, and this of course is that Molly and Walter are attacked by Dollarhide. Then we have +4 points for Hannibal being found out to be helping Dollarhide, and also the loss of his privileges and the clearing out of his cell of everything, including the toilet. And then last but not least, we have a -2 for the supporting relationship regression or breakup, and this of course is Francis breaking up with Reba due to being afraid of hurting her, and that's -2 points, which leaves this episode as a 4 out of 10. And that brings the mostly objective ranking list to in first, Dulce, Digestivo, The Great Red Dragon, Primavera, Aperitivo, and The Woman Clothed in Sun, Antipasto, Contorno, and The Woman Clothed with the Sun, Secondo, and then this episode is currently in last place for the season, and The Beast from the Sea. My personal ranking for this episode is that I did find that it was a good episode. We had some action with the attack of Dollarhide on Molly and Walter. We had the revelation of Hannibal helping Dollarhide, which was great plot progression. We had him losing his privileges, which I keep mentioning because she took the toilet, which I don't know if that's a human rights violation or not, but I feel like it should be because, like, you shouldn't take someone's toilet. Even people in prison deserve the right to a toilet. So, anyways, that happened. And I think overall there was also the relationship progression with the breakup between Reba and Dollarhide. Dollarhide's focus changing to now being on Will and attacking Will, which sets up for future episodes. And I feel like this is the beginning of the resolution, which helps to build tension and ultimately will. Oh, what am I trying to say? I've lost my thought. It just slipped from my brain. It will help. Well, building the tension helps to build the excitement for the future episodes, and that is an emotional response, which is what the personal ranking is for. Now, honestly, I've never been very attached to Molly and Walter. I feel like they play they're seen too little on screen to really build up that connection, though I definitely do think that Molly is a strong person to be able to have survived against the Great Red Dragon and managed to get her and Walter to safety. But ultimately, I liked this episode. I felt we were moving forward. However, oh, we also got to return to some nice imagery with the crashing waves. We got a forest and Dollarhide regrettably underdressed in the forest, the moon, and then his face next to the moon. Like, I think the imagery when he was going on his surveillance mission before his hunt was very good imagery as well. I decided to give it a 7 out of 10 because like I said, I think that the episode was entertaining to watch. I liked all the progression and the plot that we got. I liked the imagery, but I'm not overly attached to Molly or Walter. It does kind of bother me that the poor dogs were targeted. However, at least they were not fatally targeted as the one family's cat was, so that's a good thing. And then Hannibal choosing to help the serial killer over the law enforcement, I think that's just very in character for him. And I did think that that was a good moment, but again, it did lose him his toilet, which again, I'm not sure you should take somebody's toilet. I agree with taking away the privileges, but I don't necessarily agree with taking away the toilet. So ultimately, again, 7 out of 10, which brings the list so far to in first place Digestivo, Dulce, Contorno. This episode I put in fourth, and The Beast from the Sea, The Great Red Dragon, Aperitivo, Primavera, Secondo, and The Woman Clothed in Sun, and The Woman Clothed with the Sun, and then in last place for me so far is Antipasto. Which brings us to the series ranking so far. And on our mostly objective ranking, we have Season 2 in first place with 86.92, Season 1 in second with 83.85, and Season 3 so far has a score of 88 out of 130. Meanwhile, on our personal ranking, we do have Season 2 in first place with 88.46, Season 1 in second with 66.92, and then Season 3 so far has a score of 69 out of a possible 130. So with that, we've now rewatched and ranked Hannibal Season 3, Episode 11, and The Beast from the Sea. Like and subscribe if you'd like to, and I'll see you in the next episode.